Okay, so I haven't changed anything. So why has my body changed? So these 6 questions being answered today. I'm Christy Shuttleworth, a women's holistic lifestyle coach based in Adelaide, South Australia. And I've been working with women for the past 16 years. And I am very passionate about helping women to have the knowledge that they need to support themselves through perimenopause and beyond. So the thought most women have is that I haven't changed anything, but suddenly I'm getting hot flushes, terrible sleep, getting a stress overload, not coping with it. My body shape is changing and I just don't have any energy. And these are all signals that we're going through the perimenopausal transition. So the body can be sending us signals like hot flushes, changes, stress intolerance, body shape shifts, sleep disruption and exhaustion, just as some of the ways that we might get these signals from our body, seeing as it can't talk. And what they are essentially is any it's the difference between the sex hormone quantity we used to produce when our ovaries were plentiful, and that when we're in our reproductive years, that our ovaries produce our estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, etc., in the quantity really that we need. And then when we go through this transition, when we run out of eggs, then the production of our hormones then goes to our sex hormones, gets transferred to essentially a different factory in the body, which is our adrenal glands. And the irony is that is where we also produce our cortisol and our adrenaline, which are our stress hormones, because it's usually the most stressful period of our lives in this day and age. So symptoms are showing us that we've got a deficit of hormones being produced compared to what we used to. If you think of the factory is just at capacity making all these stress hormones, it doesn't have enough capacity to also make another lot of hormones that it didn't used to have to. So the body is giving us these signals saying, excuse me, we're running a bit low. And I think that a little bit like that game when we're kids of hotter and colder. It's like one kid is on the lookout, got to find the thing. And then the other kids are saying, oh, you're getting warmer, you're getting colder, you're getting closer to it, you're getting further away from it. But I can't tell you exactly where it is or what it is. So that's like what the body's doing is when you start making modifications, your body might be showing you that, oh, yes, I'm feeling a bit better. That's helping me. Maybe you're reducing your stress a bit. Or maybe it's ramping up because you're ignoring the symptoms and the signs and you're just trying to push through, which is in this stage of life is not a time to push through, if at all possible. So your body's always giving you constant feedback. And so this is my bit of a stretch analogy. So if you imagine that your body is through our reproductive years, so like our 20s and 30s, it's just like a party and everyone's having a great time. But imagine that estrogen is like that annoying loud girl at the party where you just can't wait for her to leave. Well, when she leaves, you actually miss her because that's kind of estrogen really, because it's it's the thing that we kind of think, oh, I can't wait till I don't have my periods anymore. I don't have PMS. I don't have period pain. I don't have to be forward planning for when I'm on holidays, all those sorts of things. But then when it's gone, thinking, oh, actually, I've realized now that estrogen did so much more than just give me periods and mean that I could get pregnant. It's actually that estrogen helps every organ in the body. So that's when we get a little bit of joint pain. We might get mood swings, anxiety, depression, lose our confidence when we drive, especially at night, get itchy ears. It can seem all quite random, but it all comes back to the estrogen quantity in our body. So if estrogen is like the party girl, the loud one, then progesterone is like the calm one at the party who always knows how to de-escalate and keep the peace. So progesterone is our mood stabilizer. It helps us feel more calm and it balances out estrogen. So we need both and in the right ratios, preferably. So, okay, estrogen brings the energy to this party. Progesterone keeps the peace, and it's your habits that run and host the whole party. So that's the music, the atmosphere, the location, the decorations. It's the vibe. And that's what I'm here to help you with today. So, an interesting thing to add to this kind of analogy is that HRT may be an option to help with your symptoms. But if HRT is essentially a replacement party girl and a replacement peacekeeper, but the vibe isn't good, the music, the food, the location, the hosting, all of that type of thing, that foundation, it might actually make things worse. Because sometimes that happens, that women will try HRT, but it actually makes them feel worse, or it makes them feel sick or bloated or bleh. So HRT isn't always the go-to or the only option, and I'm certainly not dismissing it. But it's just something to keep in mind. And for those of you who have tried HRT and it hasn't worked for you, it can even come down to what method that you're using, whether it's an estrogen gel and a progesterone tablet, or whether it's a patch or a vaginal cream. It could be, there are quite a few different options these days. So let's bring it back to what we're learning today. It's about let's improve the vibe, which in other words is our habits. Right, so we're getting into our questions. Number one is, why am I suddenly on fire? So that's hot flushes and night sweats, really. It's all part of this group of symptoms that happen from the effect of less estrogen on our vasomotor functions in the body, which essentially means our internal thermostat. So there are habits that can fuel that fire. And one of them, which is a really clear and easy example, is how, I don't know about you, but a typical way that women often catch up is to go, let's go to a pub or to someone's house and we're going to have a grazing platter and a couple of glasses of wine. And that is literally the starter kit for ramping up histamines in the body, which then can have a knock-on effect to creating hot flushes. And alcohol can have a big effect in our blood sugar dysregulation, meaning that we get on this blood sugar roller coaster, which means that we're waking up in the middle of the night, either with not being able to go back to sleep or only being able to go into a light sleep where we're waking back up again every 20 minutes, or it's mucking up our blood sugar. So there are things that are really important to realize. So what can we do instead? So we could change up just what you eat. So rather than having a grazing platter, perhaps you have a meal, or you just replace the cheese and the cold meats, which can increase the histamine response in the body, which histamines, if you think of people that take antihistamines, especially the ones that take it for hives, that hives reaction is like it makes the skin hot and swell, so that which increases temperature as well. So I'm not saying as in you should just take an antihistamine if you're having a cheese platter, but trying to avoid those foods, because also when you think of belly fat as well and feeling like you're getting bloated and putting on weight, cheese is high fat. And if you crave cheese, just as an aside, cheese is high in salt. And when you've been producing adrenaline, like being stressed for a long time, you might have heard of adrenal fatigue. If your adrenal function is kind of getting low because you've just been pumping out adrenaline for a long time, you'll crave salt. So that might also be a sign that you need to reduce your stress levels in whatever way possible. So back to some solutions. So some better food choices, like perhaps changing to veggie dips and veggie sticks, and Maybe it's eating, like, I make little chicken balls that are like chicken mince that are nicely naturally seasoned that you can just snack on. You can heat them up and you can snack on those. Just being more mindful about what choices you're making when it comes to food, especially incidental food too, because also on a platter, sometimes you don't realize how much you're eating. And when you've had a couple of drinks, you might be a bit more relaxed in your portion control. Also, maybe having, if you are going to drink alcohol, alternate a water and then a glass of wine, just so that you're giving your liver a chance to also process what's going on, and choose the lower histamine options. One other thing about your thermostat too is through perimenopause and postmenopause. Imagine if you have this tolerance of temperature, say between, you can wear a t-shirt and jeans and feel comfortable between 18 degrees and 28 degrees. Then before any of the menopausal sort of transition starts happening. And then you hit menopause and just slowly you start to feel like, oh, I need a jumper on and it's 20 degrees. And oh gosh, once I get to 23 degrees, I need to take my jumper off. Oh, now I'm hot. It's that tolerance of temperature, that range gets smaller quite often. So you're not going crazy. It's just being more sensitive and being more prepared for that, so that you might need to take a jumper with you or just a light top to wear over the top and it's easy to take off. Number two, okay, why can't I cope with stress anymore? Oh, and it's actually a nervous system sensitivity that happens when you have less of that estrogen and particularly progesterone in your body at this stage in your transition. So one thing right off the bat that I would recommend is to avoid extremes, because we are so used to taking on more and pushing through and taking on the advice that of like say training advice, like physical training, as men, and we try and do the same things, but actually a lot of the time that stuff just doesn't work for us, especially as we go through this perimenopause and postmenopause transition. So I would recommend even just trialing it and see how you feel after a couple of weeks of avoiding extremes like ice baths and cold plunges. It's been shown, especially in the last couple of years, that we, as I said before, we don't have as much of a temperature tolerance anymore that men do. So having an ice bath for a man would be, yes, it's great. It promotes all the blood flow going to the heart. It gets re-energized, and it gets then when it goes back out to the rest of the body, it's a lot better quality in the blood flow, and it really is energizing. But for women, it's like, oh my God, you're just doing something else that's really stressful. HIIT and cardio training every day, it's too much. We need more recovery days. So just having alternating days or strategic days of the week where you do that higher intensity training, or that you mix up your cardio days with strength training, is really important. Strength training is going to make your nervous system feel strong and grounded. Cardio training is literally fight or flight. You are running from the tiger. So if you're already stressed, sometimes, and I know of women in the past, clients of mine who have gone, the only time I feel calm is after I've gone for a run for an hour. And that can be confusing, and it can feel like I feel calm. But actually what it can be is that you've run out all the adrenaline out of your system that you've built up for the week, and you're just empty. So sometimes it's just reinterpreting the signals that you're getting from your body and meeting it with kindness for yourself. And rather than just pushing through it, this stage of life is more about listening to your body and responding in a way that is strategic, kind, and it's individual to your needs. So what can you do? What are some solutions? Well, movement, as I said, strength training, having more of an emphasis on that than on the cardio. Breathing. So it could be as simple as just making your exhale breath longer than your inhale. So if you breathe in quite naturally for say 3 counts, then make your exhale a bit longer than that, maybe 5 counts. Also on my YouTube channel, I've got some techniques that you could try, and there's so much out there for breathing. If you want some simple breathwork techniques, you'll find heaps. Vagus nerve activation. That's basically anything that's going to make you yawn or take a big sigh. It could even be that someone else in the room, they yawn and then you yawn. It's a sign that you're dropping from your head down into your body and you're safe and you can relax. So it could be just doing some ear pulls or some circles inside your ear, just in that little concave bit. It could be just putting your hand across your forehead. I'm going to yawn now. And just close your eyes and have your other elbow just resting on the table, closing your eyes and just focusing on your breathing. And doing that until you yawn or take a nice big deep breath. Simple. Again, please check out my videos. There's lots of examples of those. Less caffeine. If you love coffee like I do, at least try this in the morning before your first cup of coffee. Have some water and eat something before you have that first cup of coffee, because coffee is going to just tell your body that it switches on your fight or flight. Yeah, it makes you alert, but it can also mean that you're stressed from that first sip of the day. And taking more recovery time. That is really important. Taking, even if it's just 2 minutes, it might be when you're at work, just to step outside and just breathe for 2 minutes. If you're at home, just go outside for 2 minutes. See, feel the air on your skin. Look around you, look away, look at a distance that's very far away. So notice the building in the background. It's changing your focus, which helps you to change how you feel as well. Okay, number 3, why are my belly and boobs getting bigger? Okay, so this one really I was a dog with a bone with this one when this started happening to me, because it was, look, there's no clear answers out there. There's lots of technical jargon, but actually, what is it? And what I've found is, okay, it is hormonal influence on fat storage as we go through this transition, perimenopause to postmenopause. What does that mean in real terms? It's that we have these estrogen receptors in our body everywhere. I think of it like little, not holes. Yeah, I guess you could call it like little holes, like they connect four or something like that. Anyway, maybe it's a dish and it's got little, like a golf ball. There we go. Golf ball's a good sort of visual. And it's got those little divots in it. So those divots would normally get filled by estrogen that would be free flowing through our body. But then we go through perimenopause, we're more stressed, so we're converting our hormones into stress hormones, don't have as much estrogen. So those little divots don't get filled as much. So then what happens is, where we've got more of these estrogen receptors, which is our boobs, our belly, and the back of our arms, they start getting busy building up more fat stores, because that is sort of a sign that we're trying to receive more estrogen, but we're not really getting it. So instead, we just end up with these fat stores. So those distribution and the increasing that volume that we're getting in those areas is a sign that we're not producing enough hormones. So what can we do to help? Well, one is we could do strength training, more strength training, because that is the most, one, it's muscle building, but also it means that we're burning the most calories. So it's increasing our metabolism. And the more we increase our metabolism, we're going to start to use up those stores of fat. Another part is that if we reduce the toxins that we're putting into our body and that we're exposed to, there's this saying of, we're not necessarily fat, we're toxic, because anything that we ingest or even goes on our skin, so this is our personal care products like moisturizer, hair products, perfume is a really big culprit where it's just toxins. That anything our body doesn't recognize when it gets absorbed as food or nutrients, and it doesn't know that it's a toxin or doesn't know how to get rid of it, it stores in fat cells. So in that fat cell, it might be, say, a toxin from perfume, goes into a fat cell, think of it like a bubble that's dehydrated. It'll put water into that fat cell to hydrate it, to protect the membrane wall of that cell, the fat cell, and then it's locked away. But then we don't do anything with that, and we keep using the same things every day, same products, same foods, especially processed foods. The body doesn't recognize as a food, so it stores it away as a toxin. they just build up over time. So the more we avoid products that are toxic to our system, the less we're going to be filling up this container, these little buckets in our body. And then calming techniques. So, for example, the vagus nerve activations are great because if you think of our stress levels, like when you see a heart rate monitor going up and down, up and down, if our stress level is up here all the time, it's telling our body to store energy as fat. So if we can bring down and do like a vagus nerve activation, something like this or this one I was talking about, and it brings your stress level down. Something else happens, another email goes back up again, and then in another 10 minutes or half an hour, you do another vagus nerve drill or activation, bring your stress down. We do some breath work. So your average of your stress levels is coming down. So that's something you do, doesn't cost money. Right, so number 4, why do I just want to be left alone? Oh gosh, this is so common. So it's not that you're antisocial, it's just that your nervous system needs some time to have some peace and quiet to do this transition process, to do the neural pruning that happens in this time, this transition, where instead of knowing every detail and knowing everything for everybody, you're just starting to let go of the peripheral information that is really not necessary for your personal growth and evolution. So to become the wise woman that you're designed to become, because this is our biology, is that after we've had kids, and well, not had kids, I haven't got kids, but once that childbearing time of life has finished, then we are here in the world to be sharing our wisdom with others. And that we can't do that if we're running around trying to people please and be everything to everybody else. So as I did in a seminar just the other day, I got everyone to just close their eyes and imagine that wise woman that you would love to go and see to get advice, who you respect so much. What does she look like? What energy does she have? What's her vibration? What does she say to you? She's got a calm voice. She speaks slowly, but with purpose. All of those things that you notice. She does that and can do that and hold space for you with kindness and wisdom, because she's not being everything to everybody. She's not running around and she's not having to remember every single thing. And if she doesn't know it, have to go and find out. So this is about you protecting your boundaries. And one of the beautiful things that Dr. Rebecca, now you can see my book up there, where is it? I'll put it in the notes. She's an Australian psychologist. She says boundaries are the best thing because they're the best way that you can communicate with someone else, because we want to know what someone else wants. We want to do, and it really helps us if we know what someone else wants. So if we let other people know what we want, they know the rules. They know what you want, what you expect, and what you don't expect, and what you don't want. So boundaries help everybody. Then we've got prioritize simple self-care. It could just be 2 minutes in the morning when you get up, journal, meditate, listen to a song you love, do a little bit of stretching, have a cuddle with your cat or your dog or your kids, whatever it is, but something that's going to light you up. It's going to fill your cup so that the first thing you do in your day is for you. It's the simple thing. And knowing that it's essential. Your biology needs this in this stage of life now. Number 5, we're nearly there. So why is my anxiety up and my mood's all over the place? Well, it's because obviously your hormones are affecting your brain chemistry. So when your progesterone level is down, and that is your mood stabilizing hormone, plus and that's kind of happened because the progesterone is now being replaced by more adrenaline and more cortisol, which are your stress hormones. That's going to make you more reactive, or more of a roller coaster with your moods. So what's going to help that is going to be your sleep routine, and that's affected by hormones. Your sleep's affected by hormones, but at the same time, you need more sleep in order for your moods to be more balanced. So it's 2 for 1, rather than thinking, oh, well, there's no way I can fix this. But actually, what I found was a game changer for me was two vagus nerve activations. Every night when I would wake up, wouldn't be able to go back to sleep. I would do another exercise, which is in the YouTube videos, which is called the vagal lift. So I'd be lying in bed in the dark, eyes open, and then just doing this little trick where you look to the side until you sigh or yawn, and then you do the same thing to the other side. And the neuro emotional technique, which you'll find in the videos too, which is that one which I just showed you before. So you can do it, and you can find your own versions that work for you. So your sleep routine, making sure you get to bed at the same time every night if you can, and wake up at the same time. Breath work, any type of breath work that works for you, and blood sugar. So if you're having alcohol at night, that's already going to make you more disrupted in your sleep cycle, more likely to wake up during the night, have only light sleep, and then also have night sweats and hot flushes. So if you can avoid alcohol or really cut it down during this stage of your life, your body is going to love you for it. The stress reduction, which I mentioned with the vagus nerve, and then moving during the day so that you feel physically spent, that you've done something. Also, that's where the strength exercise is great because it makes you feel more grounded and less fight or flight. So another thing I just wanted to mention about the moods being all over the place is personally, I call going for a run or a jog for me is my attitude adjustment. So personally for me, that always makes me feel better if I feel in a bit of a funk. But whatever it is for you, it might be just going for a walk, going to the beach, sitting under a tree, or bare feet on the grass. But movement as well. It could be as simple as just standing and bouncing up and down with just lifting your heels for 20 seconds. It's just getting back from being in your busy mind and dropping down into your body. You will feel more calm. And number 6, am I exhausted or am I just lazy? How many women over the last 16 years have said this to me? And honestly, you're not lazy. It's that your sleep is disrupted, you've got an overload of stress, that you're just not shifting, and hormonally, things are changing. So your estrogen through perimenopause is going to be fluctuating wildly. Meanwhile, progesterone is kind of on a deep dive down. So often it's that difference, because when your progesterone is really low and you're getting a peak of those estrogen highs, that you're getting the erratic periods, the really big mood swings, maybe the migraine headaches and as well. So there's all of that stuff going on. And because the way we've grown up is that, why am I complaining? Oh, I've just got to push through. And actually, it's your body is trying to say to you, like that hotter, colder, warmer, cooler. Like, try something a bit different because this isn't working at this stage in your life. You're not broken. It's just you need a little bit of change, possibly in how you feel about yourself and your own identity, but also in your body. So again, your sleep routine, your breath work, not having alcohol, maybe not having a sweet snack at night after dinner as well, because that's going to make the blood sugar go all over the place and decrease your sleep. Your sleep reduction with the vagus nerve. The good thing is this: you'll see a lot of repetition. It's like one thing that you focusing on, whether it's stress reduction or it's movement or your nutrition, it's going to help a whole lot of other things that are going on in your body at this time of life. Quality nutrition. So this part is really important. Keep getting away from the processed foods and probably some of those foods that you kind of think are healthy. At least I'm making it at home, but maybe that's just got some of those processed foods, toxins, things in there, or extra sugar. Because when I used to run healthy cooking classes, one of the things I used to try and really communicate clearly is that manufacturers, even restaurants, they are under no obligation to make food healthy for you. They want to make it tasty, so you go back again or so you buy it again. So often you will find that foods have high salt and high sugar content. And why I always say salted caramel, such an amazing flavor when that came out a few years ago, was because it's not just caramel, it's salted caramel. And it was the extra salt that made it taste extra delicious. So if you're making tacos with a taco mix rather than making it from scratch with cumin and coriander and some garlic and those your own spices, yeah, it might not taste quite so dynamic, but that's because you don't have all those crazy extra flavorings in it. So just being aware of that with your nutrition, so having at least 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner would be great. And a lot of people are doing very low carb or fasting, which can help with the autophagy process, the cleanup of the cells in the body, but it is really designed for men. So maybe that's somewhere where that's extra stress on your body. Just something to think about. And we've got movement in there too, obviously, as well, in that list of solutions. So perimenopause isn't your body failing, it's your body asking for different support to what you've given it in the past. So there's that summary of 5 things. You're looking at your sleep, your nutrition, your movement and strength, how to support your body with its stress and also your brain, and the self-care routine and boundaries that you can put in place that don't have to be big time commitments. Just start small and gradually build up. Because most women are exhausted, feel like they're snapping at people, dealing with poor sleep, noticing those body changes, and just not feeling in control and not feeling like themselves. Whereas they want to be sleeping well, calm, resilient, and clear-headed, not brain fog, comfortable in their body, energetic, and feeling like themselves again. So where I suggest that you could start is with my lifestyle reset quiz, because in this, it's just a short, quick, insightful, and personalized quiz where there's 3 questions on each of these 12 different lifestyle elements. And often what you'll find is the areas you need the most attention and focus is not where you have been focusing. So you can find that on my website, which I've just put on there, or you can, I've put it in the link in the chat, or just message me. And if you want more support, you need more support than that, my Lifestyle Reset program is for you. It's designed for you going through peri or post-menopause, and it's a 12-month program that's structured enough to make you feel like you're supported and you're accountable. And it goes through every season of the year. It goes through those different times in your year, in your life, that can be challenging, or it might be that something randomly pops up that you've never had to deal with before, and I'm here to help support you through that and adapt and put in place those habits that you need to shift and change in order for you to feel comfortable in your own skin, like your lifestyle supports who you want to become and to be as healthy as you can be and to feel like yourself again. So you can book a discovery call with me, a 30-minute free discovery call, to find out how I can help you specifically. I've got the QR code there. Of course, you can always message me.